Alright, what's up YouTube? Let's do another reaction. Here we go. Oh, I can't do anything with music in it, I remember, because it hit me with the copyright. So I'm gonna do no music.
I made a comment on that model's account from the Epstein files, Alesia Riabenkova. I commented on her account last night. Girl, we all know how you got to where you are now. And this morning, her whole account is gone. She deleted it.
Oh, who? Alesia Riabenkova. That's crazy. Is that her? No, it don't look like her. Who is it? Alesia Riabenkova. I don't know. My bad, y'all.
A few times, Leonardo's former girlfriend, Alesia Riabenkova, there's emails between her and Epstein. So in the emails I'm about to show you, they're kind of worded weird, so I'll explain before I show them to you. She offers up a friend to Epstein. She calls Epstein a, quote, love bunny, which is so gross to me. And then she even says, I'll find a girl for you this time, I promise. I'm so bitter now, I'll do anything. Europe would be better to find a little girl. She says, I dated Leo. I like super hot boys, offering another girl. All right, so let's get into it. I'm dating Leo.
That's crazy. But on a side note, I'm sorry to go on a side. I hate it when creators like talk about something and then don't give any don't give any kind of like context, like, and then you got to make us do this detective work. Oh crap, I just lost it. All right.
Leonardo DiCaprio is mentioned in the Epstein. So gross to me. And then she even, so hot. I like young, super hot boys. I'm like, you know, or Leo, or super rich young boys. I'm super hot now. Where is skinny Patrick? I need to go and strip for him. Alesia has dated Leonardo DiCaprio, Gerard Butler, and Cristiano Ronaldo. Here's where she tells Epstein.
Cristiano Ronaldo had a rape charge against him, or grape charge. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it. I might edit that out. But he settled out of court, and he publicly said on record, I'm usually so much more of a gentleman. Meaning that's like an admission of guilt, you know? Like he clearly acted not gentlemanly, whatever the case that may have been. So I'm not surprised that she was messing around with them.
I'll find girl for you this time, I promise. I'm so bitter now, I'll do anything. Europe would be better to find little girl. What do you mean by little girl? This is the email where Alesia calls Jeffrey Epstein a love bunny. She goes, love bunny, do you want to see my friend or not? She would love to see you, and she's sweet. And then Epstein goes, I'm not in New York, send photos. And I guess she sends a photo, which is blacked out. And then Epstein says, where is she? And when, where were these pictures taken? And then Alesia says, I just spoke to her. She can come in 10 days. And this is her phone number. So to me, it sounds like she is helping to bring in other girls to Epstein and other men, allegedly. Then in another email, Jeffrey Epstein is again asking about more friends. He's like, any new friends? Happy Christmas. And then she says, do you like black girls? The one I know is really beautiful. She's 20. Happy Christmas. Mwah. Okay, gross. And then he says, send photo. And she says, sure. Looks like Alesia is helping to bring in more girls again. So if he dated Alesia, does this mean that he had any contact with Epstein? No. These are emails between Alesia and Epstein. So yeah, but there is that email from the former British ambassador to Epstein asking about if he knows of any international sponsorships where Leonardo can make more money. Can you think of anyone in India, China, Japan, etc. that might want the endorsement of Leonardo DiCaprio, Russian, etc., cars, etc.? Okay, this is in June of 2009. And it says he is looking for non-US products to endorse to make some money. Of course, Leo's spokesperson has denied any direct communication with Epstein and any wrongdoing. However, before we jump to any conclusions, let's look at what this is, okay? This is all alleged. Leonardo DiCaprio is mentioned in the Epstein file.
Yo, is he involved?
And any wrongdoing.
Can you think of anyone in India, China, Japan that wants the endorsement of Leonardo DiCaprio? Yo, he was if Epstein is trying to like hustle him to some connect, that means he was linked in with them somehow. And everybody knows that joke how Leo's never dated anyone older than 24, which is crazy. Oh my gosh, Leo I can't believe this is crazy. Is everybody involved? All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Wow.
The word Asian appears in the Epstein files 2,050 times, and it paints a very distinct pattern that the expectations of Asians, both in their roles as abusers and victims, were to serve. It's not surprising that we see in the files the hypersexualization of Asian women. We have many emails and references to suggest that there are differences in biological parts. We have statements that suggest that Asian women are fulfilling some type of fantasy and dream for white men. We have posts that show them selling and auctioning off Asian women for sexual gratification. We see them play roles in the massage parlors that Epstein had for his guests. References to the artwork that he had in his island and his homes, where a lot of it was naked Asian women. Along with the hypersexualization of Asian women, we see the demasculization of Asian men. Even with the role of abusers, this email references George Tan, who was listed in the Epstein files, and he's a well-known Hong Kong criminal and businessman. And they even make a small PP joke. We look deeper in...
Man, that's like all rooted in racism because there's no scientific basis for that. And in fact, the evidence even like suggests otherwise.
Into the emails, we see that Epstein falls on to stereotypes of Asian people, which is not surprising for these type of men in power, especially white men. But we see that he believes that Asians, along with their culture, make perfect house staff. And so you'll see many references where Asian people are being recruited to run homes, to be the chauffeur. Even when the Department of Justice was investigating and showed up to serve Epstein, there were Asian people running the homes. We see them scattered all throughout Epstein's island. There are a multitude of references to Epstein's taste in Asian cuisine. He loved Asian food. A lot of these men did. And they appreciate the food, but they don't see the Asian people as human beings, just in the language alone. I mean, you have emails that reference like, what about an Asian? And even when we have Asian women who play the roles of abusers and helping these abusers, like Soon Yi Previn, the wife of Woody Allen, you can see from the
She was also kind of a victim.
email alone that she understands her role.
Yeah.
She is an appreciative Asian person.
She was like adopted as a child though and stuff. It's like she was kind of... She was adopted into like a Hollywood couple, groomed by her dad. And then now she's in this world of, oh my gosh, yeah.
serving her white master. I don't want to oversimplify it too much. I'm still going through a lot of files. But Asian people, we played roles for Epstein, both as the abusers, the victims, the staff, complicit, non-complicit. We played a role in inflicting the violence.
We play a role. I feel like we get exploited. Yeah, like in our media, like or in the U.S. media, like it's so um I don't know. There's so much racism, just like in Hollywood. There's so many like racist Asian portrayals. No Asian, like you can watch like every TV show, like in movies, like you have every race, like Caucasian, of course, Middle Eastern, everything, and then but like you barely ever see any Asian faces interacting with other people, and that kind of just like marginalizes Asians and stuff. But man, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that aspect of this. That's crazy.
Now that the Epstein files are finally starting to come out, I think what a lot of people are missing is the reason why things have happened the way that they have happened. While a lot of us have known about this stuff for quite some time, some of you are new to the show. Welcome. You guys haven't figured it out yet. This is a good versus evil thing going on right now. So you guys are going to need to really get off your liberal conservative bandwagon and hear me out.
Yeah,
haven't
like
figured it out.
the worst people in the world are pedophiles. The best people in the world are socialists, because in our material world, like socialists are only people that are trying to like alleviate the disparities of wealth, and pedophiles are the worst people because of all the crimes you could do. Harming children is probably the worst. Like if you kill a man, that's not good, but that's a grown man. He's already lived his life. But when you start getting, that's like the worst you can do.
Out yet. Truth is stranger than fiction. And could this all have to do with Iraq and them going to try to find Gilgamesh? Because I don't know if some of you are ready for this. The whole Epstein network functioned as a blackmail system, a loyalty testing system, mutual destruction insurance, and control through shared guilt. Could this have something to do with them trying to, I don't know, live forever and they just still haven't figured it the fuck out? Let's see what Nova has to say. So Gilgamesh, Nimrod, the Tower of Babel, the Watchers, the Nephilim.
Yeah, there's that Green Day album called Nimrod. That's not an accident because they're mainstream and big. Like they played the Super Bowl.
The God Kings, the flood myths, these aren't random Bible stories. And if you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, you know that part of the Bible that they took out, the Book of Enoch, whole lot of shit in there. Go check it out. Wow. My brain can't even function on all that information, but we're just going to jump right into this and hopefully it starts making sense. So, and these are memory fragments. They're not fairy tales. They're not literal play-by-plays either. They're encoded accounts of pre-reset civilization, and every ancient culture tells the same story with different names. And there were beings who ruled before recorded history. They were obsessed with power, longevity, and transcendence. They built massive structures we still can't explain, and something catastrophic happened, and humanity was scattered, divided, and reset. And that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern. Gilgamesh wasn't just a guy. He was described as 2/3 divine, 1/3 human, and that's a weird ratio to invent. The story isn't really about his adventures. It's about his panic when he realizes that he can actually die. The whole epic is a search for immortality. Sound familiar? Now, Nimrod, hunter, king, builder of Babel. Babel wasn't about languages and the way Sunday school taught it. It was about centralization, one system, one authority, one frequency, one tower reaching the heavens, which in ancient language means power beyond human limits, not clouds. The punishment wasn't lightning bolts, it was fragmentation. Different languages equals broken coordination, different tribes equals broken unity, and different narratives equals broken memory. Divide the species so it can build that again. Fast forward. Why Iraq? Why ancient Mesopotamia? Why museums looted? Why were the museums looted before the hospitals? Why certain sites sealed, flooded, or accidentally destroyed? And why were statues pulled down on TV? Like ritual humiliation. People think that it's all about oil, and that's just the surface story, which is interesting because we have another very similar story to that's been happening, but that's for a story for another day. And what's under the surface is history control. Whoever controls origin stories controls identity, and whoever controls identity controls obedience. And the Epstein stuff fits the same archetype. That part makes people very uncomfortable, but ancient elite corruption was never just financial. It was ritualistic, transgressive, power through violation, and that pattern doesn't vanish, it just puts on suits. And here's the part that gets spiritual. The Bible isn't saying worship the institution, it's saying don't become like them. The fallen aren't spooky red devils, they're consciousness that's detached from source and tried to own creation instead of participate in it. The Christ story isn't about blood magic cannibalism. That interpretation was weaponized later. It's about embodiment, the divine fully inhabiting the human without dominion, or domination rather. That's why the kingdom of God.
All right, hold on. Before we go on about Christianity and this stuff, Christianity is just plagiarize Islam.
Was so dangerous, not metaphorically, politically, spiritually, system breaking. Because a human who remembers who they are doesn't need intermediaries, doesn't outsource morality, and doesn't fear death the way empires need you to. And you're not crazy, because more is coming out. We're in a memory bleed through phase. Old truths resurfacing, narratives collapsing, institutions panicking, and that's why everything feels loud, absurd, and brittle. And the system isn't confident right now. Confident systems don't censor, distract, or infantilize adults.
True.
So what are they actually looking for when they're looking for Nimrod? They're looking for what he actually represents, which is how to centralize people and how to override tribes and family loyalty, how to replace God, nature, the system, and how to rule without consent. That is the whole thing. They literally want to know how ancient civilizations controlled humans at a scale before modern tech existed. Because back then, no internet, satellites, AI, and mass media. Yet they still built empires that lasted thousands of years. And this freaks out modern power structures. And they want answers to questions like, how did people obey without constant surveillance?
What a bunch of nerds. Like, yeah, it was possible because we didn't have modern technology. Like, just survival was like a whole chore.
And how did belief systems override logic? How did symbols, rituals, and fear lock people in? And that's why ancient texts, tablets, and sites matter more than gold. Elite group knows one thing history teaches brutally well. Systems always collapse. So the real obsession might not just be to live forever. It's how do we survive the reset when everyone else doesn't? That means preserving bloodlines, preserving knowledge, preserving leverage, and rewriting history afterward. So can Nimrod's story be about trying to beat the reset, the Tower of Babel, and failing? The disgusting, horrible truth is the horrific stuff in the Epstein, stuff. They don't need the child blood or the magic chemicals or the satanic power boost, because corruption, power always escalates into transgression. But what ends up happening is the money stops exciting them, the sex stops exciting them, and the power stops exciting them. And
that's what it is. It's like they don't have to they don't get anything out of killing these kids. It's just like they know it's taboo, and it's like the power for them to do something taboo and not be not be charged for it or anything like that, they get off on just that power.
To break every single freaking taboo
That's
that
all
they
it is.
can, because it proves to them that they are fucking untouchable.
Yeah.
It's the same reason.
Same with why Netanyahu, who's keeps killing those kids in Palestine, how they killed Hein Rahab, or there's no reason for them to be sniping these children, but it's oh, I can do that, and no one can say anything about it. It's kind of like the CEO who flirts with his secretary wrong or something like that. He knows he can get away with it, so he does, even though he doesn't even do nothing. It's just
ancient kings committed atrocities publicly. I can do this and nothing happens to me, and that is their drug. I'm also sure if they could figure out how they could live forever, that would also,
yeah, it's narcissism.
This is where it gets really wild.
They're addicted to that narcissistic supply. Most people just will emotionally abuse a close family member or friend. That's how most narcissists get their supply. But once you get to that level of power, man, their supply is killing people and kids and yada yada.
Nimrod isn't the villain that you're supposed to fear. He's actually the warning. Every time humans try to centralize power, erase individuality, replace inner authority with system authority, reach heaven through control, the same collapse happens. And you're not watching the rise of the Nimrod system right now. You're watching the end of one, and that's why it feels frantic and why truth leaks. These people are not winning. They are scrambling. For most of history, power worked because people believed in it. Kings ruled because people believed they were chosen. Governments ruled because people believed they were legitimate. And money worked because people believed in the system behind it. That belief layer is cracking right now, not because everyone...
Man, there's a lot of old people that voted for Trump because, they're naive. They really thought, XYZ he was really all that cool. I was charged later, but...
One suddenly became enlightened, but because too many contradictions stacked up at once. Trying to preserve isn't civilization, it's their position within it, and history is brutal about this. When elites prioritize continuity of power over legitimacy, they lose both. They're failing, they're falling, and they're trying to extend something that already peaked. And your job isn't to fight them, it's to not become them, not to internalize their fear, not to let their collapse hijack your nervous system. You're watching the end of a chapter, not the end of humanity. Also important to know that...
Cool. Thank you, Joe, for that. It's very awesome.
Ever since you left me, more money, more cars, more hoes, more shows.
I came motherfucking Cambodia, get away from the motherfucking snow, and check it out. It's snow in this motherfucker too, y'all. Shit, look at that. Motherfucking Frosty the motherfucking snowman, y'all. I came motherfucking Cambodia, get away from the motherfucking snow, and check it out.
Shout out to Crazy Top. Jumri Apsua.
Clinton knew, Bush knew, Obama knew, Trump knew, Biden knew. They knew it was bigger than Epstein. They knew it was a network. They knew girls were being trafficked and raped. And their attorneys general knew too. Janet Reno knew, John Ashcroft knew, Alberto Gonzalez knew, Michael McCasey knew, Eric Holder knew, Loretta Lynch knew, Jeff Sessions knew, William Barr knew, Merrick Garland knew. And the FBI knew. Louis Freeh knew, Robert Mueller knew, James Comey knew, Andrew McCabe knew, Christopher Wray knew. U.S. attorneys knew, assistant U.S. attorneys knew, federal, state, and county prosecutors knew, supervisors knew, investigators knew, agents in multiple FBI field offices knew, the people who signed off on warrants knew, the people who buried leads knew, the people who negotiated plea deals knew, the people who drafted the paperwork knew, judges knew, defense attorneys knew, police chiefs knew, sheriffs knew, detectives knew, intelligence analysts knew, doctors knew, nurses knew, therapists knew, drivers knew, pilots knew, security knew, accountants knew, bankers knew, lawyers handling NDAs and settlements knew, maids, butlers, and caterers knew. So many of the people who knew are mothers and fathers. Mothers and fathers knew. Before Epstein's conviction in 2008, the people who knew might have thought it would never come out. But even after it was out, and everyone in the world knew, all those people who knew never worried that one day we would realize how long they knew. And they didn't stop it. Even now, they think we're going to be overwhelmed by the disorder of the files. They think we're going to shrink from the size of it. They think we're never going to put it into perspective how many rapes could have been prevented if the people who knew had made it known. They might be right. I don't see mainstream media stepping up to put it together yet. I see independent journalists, content creators, and everyday people who care about child rape putting it together, countering this regime's bluff with smarts and stamina and compassion for abuse victims. But it's not just this administration we have to come to terms with. It's every administration since the mid-90s. They knew. So many people knew. A massive web of people started knowing about Epstein over 20 years ago. That's 20 years of crimes, 20 years of victims, 20 years of people who knew.
No, but it's not. Apparently, people are saying this goes back further than 20 years. This goes back like hundreds of years. But yeah, very good point, Miss Dana.
And you know, I think on some level, women have always known the worst of the patriarchy hated us. We just didn't know they started hating us long before we even became women. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did you guys see the Harvard professor's emails? They got leaked. It said, "Did you torture her? I'm so glad I didn't kill anybody." A Harvard professor. There was a woman who found a professor saying something crazy in the files. And what she did was she got a poster board.
Yeah, I heard about this.
The contents of the email on the poster board and stood down there for an hour until administration came down and said that he no longer has a job. Do we need to do that? Like, is this guy actually sitting at Harvard right now? Why isn't this in the mainstream media? This is so scary.
People, when you quit, people stop saying Harvard. We need to say his name. Okay. Like, we need to know these people's names. Martin Novak. I don't know who the crap you are. You are going down, man. That's your face. That's your ugly pedophile face.
I told you about him a few weeks ago. Martin Nowak here.
Oops, sorry.
Helped publish this article about language. Describes how meanings of words change over time. Martin's a professor at Harvard University. He received significant funding from Jeffrey Epstein for his research into evolutionary dynamics. They want to know why Martin Nowak and his scientist friends are talking about steak, sausage, ice cream, hamburger, pizza, pasta, sushi. I'm sure this is not a code, and saying God is not dead, but needs a new publicist. It's all here. We just need to decode it. Mr. Epstein and Mr. Nowak had a long-running personal and financial relationship. In 2003, Mr. Epstein donated $6.5 million to establish Harvard's program for evolutionary dynamics, PED, files. I'm just wondering if these scientists were all working together to come up with a code so that they could all discuss their extracurricular activities having to do with PED, coming up with words and having different meanings for these simple words so that they could talk in public. Pizza comes to mind. From 2010 to 2018, Martin Nowak permits Jeffrey Epstein to visit the PED offices more than 40 times after his conviction, allowing him to maintain a personal office with a phone line, a web page within the PED building. He was routinely accompanied by young women. Mid-2013 to 2014, Professor Nowak approves requests from Epstein's publicist to feature Epstein prominently on PED's Harvard website for flattering and false descriptions, an apparent effort to rehabilitate Epstein's public image. In May 2020, Nowak was placed on paid administrative leave. But don't worry, guys, he's back working at Harvard. I'm just saying, all of these scientists Jeffrey surrounds himself with were really focused on the evolution of cooperation and human language. Nowak's got a nice presentation here talking all about replicator theory, and that was prominently featured in Epstein's birthday book. Oh yeah, here it is, the science section. Martin Nowak. Was this the part Martin contributed? The most fascinating game that evolution plays is human language. I will jump into the river to save 2 brothers or 8 cousins. How to get cooperation between non-relatives. The prisoner's dilemma. Pointing out that if you're interested in certain illegal activities, maybe it's better to cooperate with other people interested in said activities. You can protect each other and fool the world for a very long time.
Yeah, man. Pedophiles have a network because the whole world hates them. And so they depend on this network to survive.
Direct reciprocity. I help you, and I expect we will meet again. Then you can help me. Tit for tat. Repeated prisoner's dilemma. Let natural selection design a strategy. Random. Big fish, little fish. I help you, you help me. Evolution, games, and God. The principle of cooperation. Burger isn't a code word. Why would they black it out in the Epstein files? One ham blank, please. No mustard. The rumors that are swirling around fast food joints. It's concerning, and it makes a lot more sense when I see the word blacked out like this.
Martin Nowak, we see you.
What do you mean Freddy Fazbear is listed in the Epstein files? What do you mean by that? What do you mean Jeffrey Epstein was sharing 4chan links to spicy images of Five Nights at Freddy characters in his emails? What do you mean by that?
Who is Freddy Fazbear?
What do you mean the same emails show that Jeffrey Epstein had a meeting with the owner of 4chan? What do you mean by that? What do you mean the QAnon conspiracy and the Pizzagate conspiracy?
Yeah, who is Freddy Fazbear?
Freddy Fazbear would not have shown up in the files if it were not for the Occupy Wall Street movement. Now, hang on. I'm going to explain. We're going deep into 4chan lore. Now, early 4chan was actually very leftist, surprisingly enough. Haven't y'all wondered how a hacktivist group like Anonymous came out of a place like 4chan as we know it today? Hasn't that ever crossed your mind? Well, that's why. Because there used to be a divide within 4chan. But I'm going to cover the Occupy movement first. Now, the Occupy movement started off as kind of these scattered protests and sit-ins at universities from students who were recognizing the widening income disparity and the damage that the '08 crash had truly done, not just to their futures, but to everyone within the United States. They didn't have a lot of bodies, a lot of momentum, or a lot of buzz about them when they first started. Now, early Anonymous noticed this. And they too knew their user base, who were of very similar age and very similar standing to the college students that were already starting these protests. And while they were gaining momentum with the protests, they were using their own personal organization abilities to attack digitally as well, attacking large banking sites, major conglomerates and hedge funds, and also political figures, doxing all of their information, releasing things to the public, and that period in history that coincides with the Occupy Wall Street movement is partly why Anonymous has the reputation that it does today. Now, a vast majority of those core members of Anonymous were arrested and caught by the FBI. But that doesn't change what Anonymous wound up revealing about 4chan. That, in the right hands, it could be an incredibly powerful tool for the dissemination of information, organizing, and the collection of resources. But it was especially effective as a content and propaganda tool. Now, wherever you have spaces of free speech absolutism, like 4chan, 8chan, what have you, supremacists are not far behind, especially considering the rhetoric that the United States uses to preserve free speech, or supremacist rhetoric, if we're really getting down to it. The idea that if you do not defend the most reprehensible of speech, then you could stand to lose all free speech. And this was, of course, the rhetoric that 4chan was built upon. So there was a divide on 4chan between those who were very left and those who were very right and very authoritarian. Now, the Occupy movement caught the attention of some very prolific online neo-figures. And these figures thought, what could we do for our movement, for our supremacy, if we were to take control over this platform? So, a whole bunch of extreme neo-Yahtzee platforms got together and started storming 4chan. Now, the hope with free speech absolutism is that the best ideas will win out if everybody is given a level playing field for those ideas. But this doesn't really work. What usually happens is the ideas that are the most aggressive, the loudest, and the most violent will be the ideas that win out, because they tend to overwhelm the average user and drive them away from the space. And that was exactly what happened. There was an organized effort to pummel 4chan with a whole bunch of supremacists and neo-Yahtzees and drive out anybody with left-leaning ideas or anyone who was on the cusp of a normie user. And that is how 4chan became a supremacist and neo-Yahtzee ecosystem. After that, the goal was to use 4chan in the same way that the original Anonymous had tried to use 4chan, as a platform for organization, donation, and information dissemination. But without the Occupy movement modeling exactly how powerful 4chan could be as a tool, I doubt that Yahtzees and supremacists and those in highly corrupt positions of power would have ever even known how useful or how important it was, or how convenient it could be for sharing spicy memes of Freddy Fazbear. The end. Freddy Fazbear would not have shown...
Okay, so I guess Freddy Fazbear is...
Absolutely.
Okay, is this...
Some facts about Here's some facts about Freddy Fazbear that you probably already know, but hey, let's pretend like you don't. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, link.
Jeffrey Epstein jerks off to FNAF Futa, according to the Epstein files that just released. I mean, salute to you, soldier. I mean, this is how big of an impact Toy Chica has on society. She even got the big Ep. And I truly have to feel for the dude, because of course he had to, like, do this before the FNAF 1 and 2 movies dropped. I mean, he didn't even get to see Megan Fox voice Toy Chica, bro. Oh my. And that's not even the craziest part that come out of these files.
I barely understand what's going on. So,
Craziest part is a lot of celebrities and former presidents got name dropped in these files multiple times. You had Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Elon Musk, Kevin Spacey, Diana Ross, Michael Jackson, Mike Jagger. And since all these people are coming out and getting name dropped, a lot of people are speculating that another former president is about to be name dropped. According to Kalshi, it's going to be Barack Obama by a landslide. Like, bro, if Barack Obama gets name dropped in the Epstein files, bro, nobody's safe, bro. The only thing that I have, like, to be scared about right now is if all these people are coming out and getting name dropped, a lot of these celebrities, please don't let my GOAT, Steph Curry and LeBron James, get named, bro. I don't even think I can.
Steph and LeBron are definitely a part of that, the whatever. But I don't know if they're involved in all that. But Freddie Fazbear, what is this? Oh man, I'm gonna.
Chan, what do you mean by that? What do you mean that Jeffrey Epstein also met with Steve Bannon, who helped push the QAnon and the Pizzagate conspiracy theories to make discussing the Jeffrey Epstein scandal so toxic that no one would want to even touch it, but could also use it and spin it around in a judo-style attack on everybody else? What do you mean by that? What do you mean that Jeffrey Epstein was banned from Xbox Live because he refused to help Bill Gates cover up the very STI that Jeffrey Epstein helped Bill Gates contract? What do you mean by that? What do you mean Jeffrey Epstein in an email says, oh, are we all
like,
gonna go
this guy's
to the
yelling too
PDF?
much. Like, he's got good info, but I can't stand it. I know this user, I've seen this user. I like the user, but I don't like this yelling. Like, it's driving me crazy.
For anyone who's not actually sifting through the Epstein files themselves, I don't think you understand what an oppressive fucking task this is.
Yeah.
I don't think you understand.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody that's going through the files, because it can't be easy mentally.
And how mind-melting it is, because every time you see something and you go through a rabbit hole, you realize there's another thing and another thing and another thing, and the reach of these people, there is nothing that they did not touch. Okay, I'm going to give you an example in a second. The thing that's right behind me, but like, this was the first thing I clicked on. I didn't know how I was going to start going through all of these fucking millions of things that were released, so I literally picked something at random. I just picked a fucking file at random. And I found this, cream cheese baby, okay? And before I get into it, when I say their hands were in everything, there's a random email from a guy to Jeffrey Epstein, and he ends it with, Saints will win. The date, February, whatever the fuck. It was when the Saints won the Super Bowl. Fixed. Does it necessarily mean it was fixed? Yes, okay? Because this, all right? This is like, this unlocked.
Like, when LeBron and Steph Curry went against each other, the Warriors won, like, they won 3-0, and all of a sudden LeBron wins 4 games in a row. Like, I don't believe that.
Something for me, for some reason. Anyway, cream cheese baby, okay? I'll explain. You're never going to convince me why the fuck this person's identity is redacted, but it's redacted. On July 16th, 2009, 3:31 p.m., this person's obviously responding to something, but I don't see the rest of the chain. LOL, obviously responding to something. I don't know if cream cheese and baby are on the same level. It's okay. There's still enough time today. I'm trying to schedule priming for 5:30. Fuel explosion 9:45 p.m. ? We'll bring a new engine startup video. And the rest of this chain, Epstein says, there's millions of babies, very little good vegetable cream cheese. That fucking gives me the heebie-jeebies. By the way, I haven't even processed that statement. He has so much access to babies that the real delicacy is a good fucking vegetable cream cheese. Fuck this. Fuck everything, okay? Then they go on about where they can find a good vegetable. Jeffrey finds some at 2 J's, okay, just in case you were worried about it. But this is what I'm concerned about. Felt like a non sequitur. Fuel explosion. I'm like, let me just Google July 16th, 2009 fuel explosion. There's no way, right? There's no way that on July 16th, 2009, there was a fucking fuel explosion just after 8 p.m. just outside Detroit. The 9 Mile Bridge had to get rebuilt. Officials say a tanker truck carrying thousands of gallons of fuel was traveling on I-75 when it apparently collided with a car. The crash and resulting inferno collapsed the 9 Mile Road overpass as drivers watched in horror. The explosion in Detroit was similar to an explosion that happened in Flint more than 6 years ago. Wonder if they had anything to do with this one too, or that one too.
Yeah.
I'm like, did they plan a fuel tanker explosion?
Yo, shout out to Sheila for finding this.
He scheduled it for around 9:45
Or Shayla?
Question mark, but just after 8's pretty close too. No other fuel explosions come up for that day. When I Google, I got to page 10 of Google, and there were no other specifically fuel explosions that day. So then I go to the files and I search for Detroit. over 1,000 hits. I searched for Michigan, over 1,000 hits. And it's not just Epstein, it was Maxwell as well. And there's an email where she's talking about her sponsors in Michigan and where she's going to be staying in Michigan. And suddenly there's all this business happening, all these flights to Detroit, constantly flights to Detroit. And then there's an incorporation that happens the incorporation, I just remember it saying something like, for the purpose of buying distressed properties. Okay. With this explosion, a leverage for some business dealings, because they started to go to fucking Michigan a lot. And if you...
Leslie Wexner's headquarters is in Ohio. He owns like all the police in Ohio, and that's not far from Michigan. So it makes sense that they kind of just go right there.
Google whether Epstein had any business dealings in Michigan. You don't see anything. There's nothing there. But every other fucking day, one of his assistants is sending a calendar invite about planning a trip to Detroit, booking the flights to Detroit, going from Nevada straight to Detroit. He's emailing with other people talking about, all right, and then I'll meet you in Detroit. And it was all after this fucking fuel explosion. Then there's that footage from that Bannon interview, the interview of him that Bannon is doing that was released with the Epstein files. And he's talking about market manipulation. And there's that email where he talks about how he does market manipulation. That's what we do. You see in this context, that Sinks will win email sounds a lot like, I'm just giving the inside scoop in case you want to put some money down on it. And then you find out that he and Maxwell met with the 4chan guy, and then that same day, the /poll page thread, so whatever the fuck you call it, started. That's where Pizzagate was born. And Maxwell was some kind of super duper moderator on there and on Reddit.
Yeah, we know.
What do moderators do? And I think it was called Maxwell McGraw or something like that. Wasn't her dad's textbook company called McGraw-Hill? Anyway, the last
McGraw-Hill,
entry...
they make textbooks. And yeah, there's so much propaganda in textbooks. I could go on and on about that.
The last activity from that person was the day that she was incarcerated.
Wait, so
the Pizzagate thing was active disinformation, because it's actually what they were doing. Because why don't you search for pizza in the Epstein files? You mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement? Yeah, that's the pizza. And that's in response to someone saying she looks pregnant. I wanted to let you know the crew really appreciated the pizza today. Thank you for letting us do that. Do what? Let's say 4 p.m. It shouldn't take long, maybe a couple of hours for the casting. Then I will make the pizza mold after. I'll have it ready when you come back. Since we're not going for crazy detail, you can just wear either skin-tight nylons or just a thong if you want.
Hold on, just a side note though. So, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad entered a joint venture with McGraw-Hill in 1998. And if you remember, in 1994, that's when like all the media companies conglomerated into like 4 major or 5, I don't know how many major like media companies. And I remember going to school and just like looking at textbooks and just like, yo, this is straight up lies. But wow.
Or nothing. It's entirely up to you. But I think this one is mostly going to be about contours. Casting with ASS in capitals. This person's obviously doing some kind of plaster mold, and they're doing the ass first and then the pizza mold. You can wear skin tight nylons, a thong, or nothing. What else?
Pizza is shaped in a V. Yeah.
What are we talking about? Holy shit, chunky. I forgot about that. What time do you want to get pizza and grape soda tomorrow? I wonder what grape soda's in reference to. We know what pizza's in reference to. Subject line, spoof on chandelier, the video I sent you with the amazing little girl dance. Totally loved it. Pizza party was great. We had a lot of fun, stayed late. We all slept in yesterday morning. Your night was good? I always felt that little girl in the chandelier video, it was very creepy, wearing the nude colored. It was very fucking creepy. Dancing with a grown man. That's exactly what it was made for. We weren't reading into it. We didn't have dirty minds. That's exactly what it was fucking made for. Send pizza to Bobby. And that's an alert. That's a calendar alert. Thank you for the pizza today. Really good. Your pizza is yummy, yummy. Remember Justin Bieber song?
Yeah.
Yummy, with all the pictures of babies.
Yeah,
and
she
everyone
got
was
that
like, he's telling us
yum.
something. And everyone was like, you're reading too much into it. No pizza for breakfast and go do your homework. May I bring in your slice of pizza to you? Respectfully, Daphne. Your slice of pizza or a slice of pizza? If you're talking about food, we know what they're talking about now, right? And then I'm just gonna end it with this. Can I bring a little baby back for you? Or two, boys or girls? So Madonna. This woman, Peggy Siegel, was heading to Nairobi. Can I bring back a little baby for you? Or two? There's so much more. I have 20 seconds left. I'll make another video. There's just so much more. And that little Todd Blanche fucking statement, I think corroborates Sasha Riley. It corroborates the story. What do you mean? What do you mean that you didn't release any videos that depict death? Huh?
So, like, it's not news to me that the Major League sports are rigged. There's multiple former NBA players that like gone on record and talked about how like they had to like fix games or this and that. But I did not know about the gas explosions in Michigan. That's very crazy. And wow. Yeah, wow. It seriously is so deep.
There were so many Epstein Files connections to Justin Bieber's Yummy video. First, let's talk about how he promoted the song by using a bunch of pictures of babies with the hashtag Yummy, and also wrote Yummy and pizza. And it's where Yummy was used like 300 times in these Epstein
I didn't know he was promoting it on IG with babies. That's crazy.
Files. I haven't seen anybody point this out, but at the end of the video, there's a baby pig on the table. The start of the video, we see him walking through the kitchen, going to the table with the old rich people as if he's being served. They have very young people as the entertainment. They show this girl, and here's her outfit, but we'll get into that. There's also paparazzi in the kitchen as he's being filmed at this party. We see Justin with a sandwich in front of him, guarded by...
Yeah, I've never seen this video just because I knew like... Well, I didn't know anything about what... Yeah, I heard about like this... Yeah, so I was just like, I'm not watching that, but let's check out what she's saying.
A piece of bread. On the sandwich is this red cherry or olive with red little sticks in them, which later becomes black with black sticks. Serving disgusting food with peas, P. Diddy, and this pink. I wanted to point out this looks like a pizza. We see Justin with a pink drink in front of him, messing around with this guy's glasses. All the adults are taking turns sitting down with him. We see an entertainer and Justin's cat in the middle of the table representing him entertaining. And that's when we see the black olive cherry. We also see the Puffs, Puff Daddy. During the lyrics, lost control of myself, I'm compromised. Annie winks. We see this pink goo with circus peanuts on top. During the words, you ain't never running low on supplies. And the pink drink. So think about the pink stuff at these parties. What do you think these peanuts could represent? We see them reaching for the food and them devouring the food. Justin with water and the pink drink. We see him messed up. Girls in white come out from under the table. Notice he's taking things off. We got the white party. Remind you of anybody? And the dance moves are eating. In this, we see that red outfit on the chair. After the party, that outfit is there. We see this man eating cake. Allegedly could be this guy who founded the record label with
Clive
Diddy. We
Davis.
see this guy with a bunch of pink drinks who looks similar to L.A. Reid. A baby pig on the table. Why a baby? Don't people usually like the big one? We see his plate with the cake, peas, and the cherries representing innocence, and then young him with the words yummy. Also used him in a cake holding a cherry to promote this. He had mental breakdowns during the filming of this. Ellen asked him what this song was about. He said his intimate life and then sipped tea. Alleged and entertainment purposes only. There were so many...
Oh, man. Yo, Justin went through a lot, man. And I remember, like, there's that video of him and Selena buying meth in, like, Hollywood when he was, like, 15 or whatever. Like, that makes a lot more sense considering, like, what he had to go through with Diddy and everything. Yikes. I'm glad I never watched that video, but holy crap, that's wild. Thank you, Macy, for breaking it down.
Only natives in Arizona will know that some of the mountains in Arizona are man-made. And actually, only very few know that the elites live here in those mountains, in those man-made mountains, and some of the regular, the natural ones. But you can tell the difference of a man-made mountain versus a natural mountain by the texture. The texture. Those man-made mountains are smooth, and I mean too smooth. Like you would feel some kind of jaggedness, roughness, even as smooth as rocks can be. You feel the layers. You get what I'm saying? There's a road. Is it Scottsdale Road? Because when you go that way, bro, it's early in the morning, so I'm trying to get the streets down. But in Scottsdale, there's a road where you're crossing from Scottsdale into Phoenix, and I believe it's 54th Street. Now that I think about it, I could be wrong though, so I don't want to mess that up. But there's a road that when you pass through it, there's mountains on each side, but both of those mountains are man-made. And then you compare those mountains to the actual mountains like Camelback Mountain or Superstition Mountain, and you see the complete difference. I know there's different types of rock. I know there's different types of material in general, but that's my point, is that these mountains, these man-made mountains are so obvious only once you know that they are man-made. Like the man-made reservoirs, the man-made, hold on. Honestly, my mind just got blown. Like I'm realizing everything has been manufactured. And because Arizona is such a dead state and they do their damnedest to keep attention off of Arizona, this is the best place to create a matrix, a false world. I mean, we might even have people that aren't really people that live here. Honestly, this state is something else, man. Arizona is something else. There's a reason why we don't win championships and stuff like that. They don't want attention here. There's a reason why our football teams and basketball teams and stuff like that self-sabotage at the finish line. The elites live here. The elites live here. And I remember back in the day seeing a video, not even back in the day, this was just like maybe 5 years ago max, of a helicopter flying straight into a mountain. And you would have thought it was going to crash and blow up, but it went inside somewhere. And this is in Arizona. And then let's go ahead and draw the correlation of what's going on with Erica Kirk, Fort Huachuca, or I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I know Candace doesn't, so don't judge me. But
yeah, wasn't that turning point stuff in Arizona?
Not a plane, a helicopter fly straight into a mountain, and it looked like one of those man-made mountains. Like I said, it's the texture. Like you can, it's so hard to explain. Arizona's a weird place, man. That's what I've been trying to tell people. It's deeper than just.
And they got like crazy gun laws. Like you can walk around carrying choppers and stuff.
Championships, we're a blank canvas. This state is a blank canvas. Anybody can come here and create whatever they want because it's completely blank. You know what I mean? So and it was purposely done this way. You know, Arizona was actually mostly green. What people don't know is Arizona was mostly green. It was strategically made a desert by when the I'm not gonna say founders, I'm gonna say the settlers that came about. They allowed their animals to overgraze. Just years and years and years of overgrazing, and now we have a desert. You know what I mean? And then the Hoover Dam and all that stuff was built, controlling the water flow that goes through the Grand Canyon. And so honestly, Arizona is completely manufactured, and it's actually one of the last places that foreign countries would think to attack because it is a desert. I'm probably leaking their shit. I'm leaking their shit. So if something happens to me, you know what happened. You
If you're new here, I usually talk about some pretty scary stuff. Follow right now because Papago Mountain elites are being talked about again and locals are split right down the middle. Yo, Papago Mountain in Phoenix isn't just a hiking spot. For years, people online have claimed powerful groups, what locals call Papago Mountain elites, use the area for private meetings, underground access points, and off-limits activity. Sounds wild, except Papago Park does sit next to restricted military land, including the Arizona Military Museum and National Guard facilities. Parts of the terrain are permanently closed to the public. Here's where the comments always explode. Multiple hikers have posted about being stopped, redirected, or questioned near Papago Mountain without clear explanations, even while staying on public trails. Some say it's normal security, others swear they wandered somewhere they quote, weren't supposed to see. So, which is it for real? Papago Park borders government-controlled land, has a history of military use dating back to World War II, and includes areas still monitored today. That part is public record through city and military archives. What's not documented is any proof of secret elites operating underground. But the restricted access, unexplained enforcement, and long-standing local rumors are exactly why the Papago Mountain elites conversation never dies. That tension is real, even if the explanations aren't truly agreed on. Phoenix locals and travelers, this part is for you. Have you ever been stopped, warned, or felt watched at Papago Mountain? Normal security or something more? Comment your experience and follow now because
Okay, Papago Mountain. That's something. Wow, that's crazy.
Only natives.
At the end of Eyes Wide Shut, they're letting their daughter be taken by these two old men, and that's because they have to trade her to this group to save their.
Man, this movie wasn't finished because they unalived Stanley Kubrick, like, before he finished it. That's why the movie ends so abruptly.
Lives. For a long time, people thought this was far-fetched. And they would say the daughter's just wandering off. She's not actively being taken by these men. But she is being taken by these two men. The same two men we saw at Ziegler's house. And this idea of two men is a reoccurring theme throughout the movie. The hotel clerk says he saw Nick Nightingale taken by two men. And these men are connected to Ziegler and this group, as Ziegler admits when he says, my guys took him. You see two men at the costume shop. And Red Cloak has two masked men that stand beside him, presumably to do his bidding. Kubrick was using this as a motif to let us know when two people show up, they are there to take somebody. And a lot of people don't want to accept this because they don't want to accept that this movie is also about children being taken. But the movie overtly shows this. Milch, the owner of the costume shop, is trying to sell his daughter, or the girl that he calls his daughter,
like,
who is...
Like, this movie was like a wolf. It was basically like them warning people what's gonna happen, and it's also like a humiliation ritual for Tom. Oh, it was filmed in a Rothschild mansion.
Between 14 and 15 years old. We see that he's selling her to businessmen, and he tries to trade her to Bill for his silence. She clearly knows about these parties because she tells him what kind of costume to get, implying that she has been there and had to participate. So we know that this group does take children. But is Bill the kind of guy that would let someone take his kid? Well, he saw a man who was selling his daughter to other men without a shadow of a doubt. And what did Bill do? Nothing. He didn't call the police. He didn't tell anybody. He just scornfully looked at them and he left to go to his masked party. He's exactly the kind of person that they want in this group. And people have always discussed how these ending conversations, like the scene of Alice and Bill crying and holding each other, or their conversation at the toy store, don't really make sense in the context of what we've seen in the movie. It's way too dramatic and cryptic. But go back and rewatch these scenes with the perspective that they just had to agree to trade their daughter to save their family's lives. These scenes make much more sense. They did trade their daughter away. And this stuff doesn't just happen in movies. As we're seeing as more and more of these lists come out, that this is a very dark and disturbing world that
Yeah, I didn't catch that aspect when I watched that movie. That's crazy.
Every time I make a video warning young women that there are a lot of women like Ghislaine Maxwell out there, I get a ton of comments saying, not really true. Not true. Very few and far between. They're very rare, actually. They're only 1 in a million. That is not true, and that is why I make these videos, and that is why I need people to be educated, because they are literally everywhere, okay?
Because, yeah, in order for, like, patriarchy to be sustainable, you need to have women that are willing to fornicate with these patriarchal sociopaths. And certain women will do that for their place at the table. Like, think about Melania, Trump, whoever.
And I'm not saying in terms of population, like I'm not saying there's tons and tons and tons of them, but there are more than you think, and they're spread farther than you think, okay? They're not only concentrated in certain areas. They're not only in urban hotspots. They're not only in certain places in remote locations and whatever, wherever you're thinking that's not near you, because they are near you too, which is why I make these videos. They're everywhere. They could be anywhere. That is the point. I know that information like this is very shocking and it's disturbing and it's hard to accept, but I make these videos for a reason. This topic specifically is like very personal for me. I'm not going to share it on this page yet, but I had an experience that leads me to talk about this. So like people getting in the comments and downplaying it and being like, okay, but like it's kind of rare. Stupid. That is stupid, and you are actively harming other people because you are lying.
Jeffrey Epstein created this saga, and this is what he is great at doing. He's great at kidnapping someone, turning them into putting them in a dead celebrity's body and screwing the life out of them after he makes a ton of money off of their ass on his private little beach. So you have a private little beach full of celebrities and bodies getting screwed, and nobody cares because they're supposed to be dead. And this has been a major market that he tried to blame on Oprah Winfrey. So, yeah, that's what I feel about that. And this Panda Eye thing is, the panda, all that stuff is so real. You want to go get Panda is a secret code for a certain thing. And so when it comes down to that certain thing is you basically have a certain nerve in your rectum, and if you touch that nerve, you can turn a person into an animal, you can turn a person into whatever you want them to be if you just hold them down. So pretty much when you see black eyes like Blueface and like that, he got beat up, but he didn't get beat up where you thought he got beat up. He got beat up somewhere else, okay? And so the eyes come out, and they call them Panda Eyes. And they do this so you see people with these cigars, and they're all these big celebrities, they all have the cigar in common. That's that big thing between their legs that they're sticking in and it's one big society of it.
I mean, if you read the book, you'll be like,
Orlando Brown is saying Blueface got cloned. Remember
Blueface. That's not even the guy for real. Like, Blueface has always been skinny. Okay, let's start making sense. Orlando. Yeah. Blueface has always been skinny. When have you ever seen Blueface with a belly? Who the is that?
you was talking about the Panda Eyes and the Diddy parties you was throwing?
Panda, so you got... Panda is a secret code for a certain thing. And so when it comes down to
This is
and if you
super
touch
spooky.
that nerve, you can turn a person into an animal, you can turn a person into whatever you want them to be if you just hold them down. So pretty much when you see black eyes like Blueface and you know like that, he got beat up, but he didn't get beat up where
This nigga's not important enough to get cloned by Clone or any of that, bro. He's Blueface, man. Y'all take this conspiracy shit too far, and this man right here is off. Orlando Brown.
I know what Panda Eyes mean. He was seen with Panda Eyes while he was attending the New York Fashion Week. And as you can see the photo below, like he literally looks like somebody got him back there. You know back there. You know what back there means. And everybody always said that he was an industry plant, but I didn't believe it because he had a backstory. But they said the same thing about Kai Cenat. And whole time, Kai Cenat got photos with Lil Nas X when they was younger. All these people is all of a sudden just know each other growing up. Like, be so for real. And I bet you later on we're going to find out that Marlon knew somebody when he was younger too. And what'll really confirm it, y'all know the photos that they be doing is definitely going to confirm it for me. When his brother came out and said that Marlon changed, Marlon not the same person, Marlon did this, Marlon did that, we should have believed him. Because how is it that you and your brother is not cool anymore, but whole time you know he was struggling and you didn't want to be there for him? Yet you always come to the internet and let us know about your struggles.
Hey guys, I want to show you a clip of something very disturbing. I know many of you have probably heard the term Panda Eyes.
Damn it, wait, sorry.
But I wonder if you guys know what actually causes Panda Eyes.
Oh, I can't fast forward this video.
I'm going to show you a clip first. Check this out. Now, do you think this is a coincidence, or do you think, you know, something else is going on? Just everybody just happens to have black eyes. Everybody fell on the doorknob, right? No. Panda Eyes happens when you are forcibly penetrated in a Tootsie Roll. And, yeah, doctors say that this is a reaction to nerve damage, blood flow damage. Can only come from forcible, you know, activities.
The name that everyone call, I think, in the medical term, we call
That is so heartbreaking. That is beautiful little Maddie at her party, literally hours before she was unalived. But there's something I want you guys to really pay attention to in that video, and it is her panda eyes. There is no doubt that she has those, but a lot of people don't even know what those are. So let me give you guys a little bit of information. Okay, so there's a few things here that I want to talk about for sure. But first of all, let's do what this is. This comes from, up top you can see where I pulled it from, but raccoon panda eyes are easily recognized and generally believed to be a common symptom of basal skull fractures. Okay, then you see at the bottom that it is suspected side effect of basically childhood SA. Although it has been pretty hard, as you can kind of read, to get any absolute medical, basically like a medical stamp on this for sure, because it's hard of how to associate it, when to diagnose, etc. But something I want to talk about is that top one, the basal skull fractures. If you've seen the video that I posted yesterday, one of the autopsy results that are going around. We don't know that that's correct. It's hasn't been released officially, okay? But the one that I did post did say that the cause was blunt force trauma to the head, which brings me back to that first one. I am kind of thinking, could it be that Madeline was not allowing this SA to go on anymore now that she was older, she was fighting? Could it be that they started, not only had they SA'd, but were they starting to physically abuse her as well? Could it be that that night, Stefan tried to do that and Maddie wasn't letting it happen and she started fighting them and it went too far? Could have that been something that had been going on and it just went too far that night? It's a thought.
Okay. So there's Panda Eyes.
By Shaba until your eyes pop out, go ahead. I mean, that's up to you. But, I just think that, people just need to realize what they're looking at when they're watching the television. Everything is right in front of you. The revolution was televised, and don't nobody get me. You ever heard of Panda? Like I was telling you, Panda.
Is that NBA Youngboy?
So you got...
Yeah, like the NBA Youngboy's first music video. In this first music video, you can see somebody wearing a chain of the Freemason symbol.
Panda is a secret code for a certain thing, and so when it comes down to that certain thing, it's so what it is you basically have a certain nerve in your rectum, and if you touch that nerve, you can turn a person into an animal, you can turn a person into whatever. And so the eyes come out, and they call them Panda Eyes, and they do this so you see people with these cigars, and they're all these big celebrities.
Marilyn Monroe's body went missing after she passed? There's Erica Kirk has the same name as like some governor's wife, or her name was like something Kirk too, and they look exactly alike. Like they look like clones. Yeah, man, they definitely got to be cloning people and stuff.
Who was interested?
The Fortnite Epstein thing is getting weirder. So y'all remember how they found Epstein's Fortnite account? I was actively playing Fortnite just last year. Fortnite officially responded to this, which they never do, by the way, saying that it was a ruse from a player to change his name recently in order to trick people. But the plot thickens because they got community noted, basically saying, look, that's actually not true because the Fortnite.gg rap shows that this person had the name Littlest Jeff from way before this whole file release. But that community note was then deleted, as well as the Fortnite Littlest Jeff profile privated, and the history of it was deleted off the Wayback Machine. Craziest thing is that they also said in this post, we have no record of the subject's email address, even though in the files, we know that he got an alert for a charge for Biba. I just find it so strange that they're commenting on this, privating the accounts. Like, Fortnite Epstein thing is getting weirder. So y'all remember how they found Epstein's Fortnite account? I was actively playing Fortnite just last year. Fortnite...
Yo, Jeffrey's on Fortnite. Oh my gosh.
So I can't stop thinking about that interview that Jax did a while back about all of the scary, terrible things that she saw in Hollywood. Jax is a singer that was in season 14 of American Idol, and she also has had a bunch of hits, one of them being the song Victoria's Secret. And in that song, she sings about how Victoria's Secret is actually that she's an old man in Ohio making money off of women's bodies.
Les Wexner.
And that guy that she was talking about is Les Wexner, who was just named in the Epstein files as being a co-conspirator of Epstein. So it's just crazy that not only did she write this song and call out Les Wexner for making money off of women's bodies, But then she had like a really scary experience in Hollywood where she saw things that she says no one should have ever had to see, and that she won't even call out a specific person or instance because she's afraid for her own safety and like the safety of her loved ones. Watch this interview and just tell me what you think.
What happened?
You know, as I was writing it, I was like, I kind of imagined there being press if once I got it all out of my system and being like, oh, we'll talk about it. But then when I think
I've never heard of this Jax person
about it, I'm like so fucking freaked out by Hollywood and the city that I'm like afraid for my not just my career and the roof over my head, but like my loved ones and family, that I just am so terrified to talk about anybody, any person in particular. But like, we saw some crazy shit. I saw like a human head in somebody's house. Like, we were like so freaked out by it.
What the fuck is
Are you living like a true crime?
Literally, like, it just took such a bizarre turn.
Whoa.
So
Wow. Oh, wow. Who is Jax? Wow. Wow. Protect Jax. Cause she really likes real spilled.
In addition to Peter Attia and Deepak Chopra, there are other physicians who are in the Epstein files, and some of them appear to be gynecologists. This email is from a Bella Klein to a redacted address. Hey Bella, is there a gynecologist that we normally use for the girls? I need to make blank an appointment. To which the reply is S. Yale and Romoff. This is an email from Jeffrey Epstein that says organize for blank to see a gyno. The reply is Romoff or clinic blanks once went to which Epstein replies either, and then they reply, in the process of setting her up with Romoff, she is trying to make time in her schedule. Now, I don't know these doctors, and I'm not alleging anything, but I think it's important for any physician named in the files to come forward and explain why they're in it.
Chef. Wow. I don't know it was like that. Pregnant mothers are made to sit on a table like a turkey with a plate in front of their private parts as they give birth. The baby put on a plate. This is like the biggest story in history. Holy F.
Okay, so I'm low-key curious if anybody noticed this regarding the shipping containers, but I'm just gonna like say my piece and go. That was on a movie in 2005 called Human Trafficking. It was a 2-part miniseries on Lifetime. 2005, they showed them kids in them containers. That was all. Oh, and one more thing. I'm so
All hands. I got a radio call from Ron Gillette, the foreman, and he said the men were throwing up and there was something really wrong.
One of them fell down and hit me right in front of my feet.
On February 3, 1982, a shipping container company in Los Angeles, California repossessed a container that belonged to a man named Malvin Weisberg. You see, guys, Malvin wasn't just a regular guy. He owned multiple medical labs in Santa Monica, and let's just say some disturbing things were happening there. But we'll get to that in the end. So why was this container taken away? It turns out that Malvin failed to pay his bills on time, and when the container was repossessed, workers started complaining about a terrible smell, like something had died inside. By the next day, on February 4th, the company sent a team to open up the container. And guys, what they found is beyond shocking.
So I was asked by Nick to have a crew go down and unload the container at the other yard.
I got a radio call and he said the men were throwing up and there was something really wrong.
one of them fell down and hit me right in front of my feet. And it was opened up, and there it was. It was a mutilated body.
Inside were the remains of 16,433 unborn babies. Most of them were over 20 weeks old. It turns out that Melvin had been performing illegal abortions, and instead of properly disposing of the remains, he stored them in the container. And despite this horrifying discovery, no charges were ever filed against him. Melvin Weisberg walked away without facing any consequences.
Wow.
Sorry. And for the love of me, please do better, y'all, because how can I, somebody who gardens every single day, remember this shit? As soon as I seen that, I said, they showed that in that Lifetime movie.
I'm sorry, I never watched Lifetime, bro.
I forgot that as long as I fucking lived. That movie inspired me to want to help children. Like, clearly, if it was based on a true story, we been knew about this.
Wow, I never knew about that. Thank you for reminding us. Cause I just, this is all news to me.
So apparently India's prime minister was named in the files, so they're fully revolting.
Go.
Yeah,
Go
we can
India.
take notes anytime now. Did you also see that El Paso's airport is shut down for 10 days and they're not telling us why? Like a major hub for flights by Mexico, by military bases, shut down without explanation. Those aren't two related events, but they are, because it's all connected, because it's all of them
For 10
in the
days?
files. And
They say it was a cartel
what's
drone,
happening
but for 10
is
days?
Americans might not be reacting violently at the moment, but other countries sure are. And when you look at countries like Iran, I mean, it's the American government's hope you don't hear what has been happening in Iran. And there you have it for my What the Fuck Wednesday morning update.
Thank you.
Y'all remember when I told you that there was a Tumblr post from someone who said that she found out her parents birthed her, like created her and birthed her specifically for the purpose of selling her to elites? I want you to go to this video that I have tagged in the captions and then think about what I said.
This is Eva. She's a physician and the founder of the Dubin Breast Center at the Cancer Institute at Mount Sinai Hospital. This is Mount Sinai's social media account. Why am I showing you this? Because this is one of thousands of emails that Eva sent to Jeff. Come and visit next week. Selena will have 5 friends over. Selena is Eva's daughter, who at the time of sending this email was about 15 or 16 years old. Per the DOJ, Eva appears in the files 6,145 times. She's also his ex-girlfriend. They dated for about 11 years until she then married her now husband, billionaire Glenn Dubin. After Jeff was convicted of being a offender, the two of them wrote to his probation officer saying they would be 100% comfortable with him being around their children, all 3 of whom were under 18 at the time. There's a lot more to that relationship, but what's important now is that as of the time I'm recording this post, Eva is still affiliated with Mount Sinai Hospital. And while I, with my 0.0000001% of influence, might not be able to hold a hospital or a billionaire accountable, together we all might, because what's the point of having influence if not for this? So join me in asking Mount Sinai what the hell is up, because it seems that even hospitals and doctors don't do the right moral thing unless the public demands it of them. If you're not familiar with my content, my name is Pari, and I'm currently reading through all of the files so that you don't
I know I misspelled it. Because I don't want to get censored or I don't know what. Who knows?
Y'all remember when I remember exactly where I was the first time I ever saw something online that truly traumatized me. It was summer. I was a teenager. I was laying on my friend's bedroom floor scrolling on social media. A video popped up that automatically played saying that it was sharing it for awareness. They were trying to find the guy in the video. There was no trigger warning. It went straight into the video. Without going into details, it was a grown man abusing a little girl. I remember exactly how my body felt. I feel it almost every single time I talk about it. And I went into a really dark, depressive state for a few days after that because I couldn't stop replaying it in my head. I reported it because I didn't want it to get spread further, and I tried to push it out of my memory. The point in telling you this is this happened more than 10 years ago. I still randomly think about that video. Sometimes it pops into my head out of nowhere. I literally cried about it just a few days ago. It's called secondhand trauma, and it's real. So when I see everyone deep diving into these Epstein's files, I get it. I do. Whether it's out of curiosity or names needing to be exposed, the truth does matter. I also want to say this with love. Be careful how much of this content you consume. Once you see these things, once you hear these things, they are going to be embedded in your memory.
Yeah.
Because you know that they're real. They don't just pass. You are someone who feels deeply or stuff like this hits you hard. Protect your mental health. You can care about justice and accountability without destroying your peace.
True.
I remember exactly.
Major trigger warning. If you're not going through the files, I am. And here are some of the most disturbing things I have seen. They trafficked little girls. They got them pregnant. They took their babies. They starved the babies, made them very thirsty, and then they put their in their mouths because they knew the babies would suffer.
Yo.
They joke about cream cheese. They are referring to breast milk in the intestines tasting good because they ate them. Well, actually, they were probably eating their own.
I wasn't ready for that
as well.
Oh God,
all of our children are accessible to all of these predators because their school photos were handed over to. Yeah, MAGA, your kids were handed over too. They wrote emails back and forth like, got a good 10-year-old, got a good 8-year-old, virgin, just your style, you want it? But the satisfying part here, the most disturbing part, is that Pam Bondi, Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Dan Bongino, Steve Miller, Bannon, all these people and the 1,000 FBI agents that redacted the files, they know who all these perpetrators are. They know that children were killed, buried, put in the water, put in fields. They know where they are. They know who the perpetrators are, and they redacted their names. And they are sitting around eating their dinner right now, knowing the names of the people who did this. And no one in America is pressing charges or doing anything, but dozens of other countries are. Who was cooking the meals? Who was the staff? Who are the people that could speak up? Major.
Yeah, that was a major trigger warning. I was not ready. Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up right here. We're gonna wrap it up. Very informative video, Miss Dr. Leslie. I wasn't ready. Oh crap. Oops. Ouch. Yeah, I guess that was today's video, learning about the biggest crime of humanity's history. I'm sorry if you had learned some disturbing stuff. I did. But like, this is our reality. This is our world. Let's try to do our best to make these things not happen anymore. But I feel like it's such a big fight. But oh man, all right. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Let's all try to be safe and live positive and good lives. Peace and love.